Good morning. Not really. It's not morning. It's the evening. How are you guys? Welcome to Dames and Dorks. It's Thursday, everyone. I am one of your hosts, Nomi, and along with my other lovely hosts here, we have Lily, Dr. Rachel, and Sevvy, and DJ Dr. Smu. And our special guest today, we got Moss. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, and I'm really happy that you invited me on here. It's a great honor, and does this make me an official dame?
Oh, I mean,
official, well, yeah,
you can if you want that.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Oh,
so I fit the dork description. I see how this is going. Okay,
yeah,
you just forget everything I just said.
Usually, when we have our dudes come in, they're the dorks.
Oh,
but you can be a girl if you want, I guess. I mean, Moss identifies himself as a black woman.
Yeah, that is true. But today's Thursday, so that doesn't apply today.
That's just only on Wednesdays, right? No.
Yeah. It's certain days of the week. I'm not feeling it today, you know.
Okay. No. Don't worry, Moss. We accept you as you are. It's 2024. There's no judgment here.
Thanks, guys.
But we got a pretty good show today, and I know you are a massive Lord of the Rings fan because I saw you tweet bombing the other day is like, oh, he's not happy about things. And that's why I was like, we need to talk to him about these issues. What's going on. I want to go ahead and acknowledge the chat here. We got Alasia. It's okay, Alasia. You got bigger things that you need to take care of. We're just happy that you came by and say hi. We got Retro Collective. We have Tracy Reeves. We got one of the 3 resident doctors here. We also got like I said, Tracy Reeves, Tara Crystal. Yes, and then Dr. Lily is the best doctor, honestly, because
best doctor.
True.
Always get the best.
Best actual doctor.
This is actual doctor.
Because she has a white coat, y'all. Watch out. And then we don't know who this weirdo is.
I have no idea. I've never seen him before in my life.
I wonder. Yeah, I think
keep an eye on him.
I don't think he has a soul, but
I mean that's conjecture. It's still up in the air, but you know.
Yeah. And then we got Biggles Metz. Hello.
Biggles.
It's nice to see you here, Biggles. Oh,
what's up, Biggles?
We won't bully him that hard, Biggles, but I can't promise anything. But we can bully Moss is the Rings of Power that is currently on the 2nd season right now with Amazon. So Moss, I know you. Like I said, I saw you do tweet bombs the other day. You were not thrilled about it. Can you go ahead and tell us what was in your mind, your emotion, your thoughts, your soul, everything?
So basically, the entirety of the Rings of Power is just jangling keys for people who are somewhat familiar with the setting. Now, anybody who knows anything about the Lord of the Rings or anything about Tolkien's work knows that jangling keys aren't going to cut it. It's about the themes that Tolkien wrote. It's about courage, it's about bravery, it's about loyalty, it's about brotherhood, friendship, sacrifice, all of those things. And a big budget doesn't buy those things. Now, basically, from the impression that I get is that somewhere on the writing staff, maybe there is somebody who read the books, maybe. But genuinely, what it really plays like is somebody went onto the wiki and is like, okay, we need a character that fits this situation, that did this thing, that we can just throw in here that might make sense. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what they did. Like if you know anything about the history and the lore that Tolkien created, this is I don't even want to say it's a parody of it, because a parody at least lends some sort of homage to the original work. This is it's a horrible shadow of the giant that is Tolkien.
Like
it's
the big
worst
shoes.
Case plagiarism. It's worst case plagiarism, isn't it? Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Worst case plagiarism. It's like the fact that J.R.R. Tolkien already wrote this and already has like a massive fan following, a massive shadow that everyone has to lead up to. But this is not even, I wouldn't even consider it a shadow. It's more of like a whisper.
Yeah. Well, and the thing about it is it should be not necessarily easy to adapt it, but at least get the story right, because the way that it's constructed, at least what they're trying to portray, is a bunch of little bullet points in the appendices. So really, they got to nail a few of these things and then connect it with something that feels like it would have come from the setting. But they can't even do that. They're one of the big problems, and I think High King Feanor said this last time. So I'm probably not going to be the first person to say it. But you take what is in the literature, you take what is about 3,000 years of history and shrink it down to about a month's worth of events, you're going to get some problems.
Now I have our first article here. It's basically how Forbes is saying that it doesn't need to have, or maybe shouldn't commit to 5 seasons, but yet Amazon is kind of trying to prove it to us, like, yeah, guys, we need to have 5 seasons.
They shouldn't have committed to 5 seasons to begin with.
That's where I was going to go with. Like, I didn't know that they would be so confident that they would have you guys, like us, the lore people, mainly you, Dr. Rachel, and others who love this beloved novel so much that, you know, people would want to keep following it. But like you said, it's just jangling the keys in front of them, and they didn't think that this would work in their favor with all of the awful writing in it.
Yeah,
I mean, let's be honest here. When the first trailer dropped, the memeing in the comments section already was a pretty telling sign of that this is not going to go well.
That was glorious. I
love
enjoyed
memeing.
I read that comment section for hours. It was great.
It had more entertainment value than the entire first season of that show.
It's true.
Very true.
Now, like, what was, I know the first scene of the first episode of the second season, it was a symbiote. How did you feel about that one, Moss?
You
by the way, I should have told
you.
You're allowed to drink on this stream. I should have told you that. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. If only I had alcohol somewhere in here. I'll just stick to my water for now.
Want me to pass this bottle through the screen for you, Moss? You probably like this.
Yes,
one.
please. Yes, send it across the pond, please. Sauron being represented as a symbiote doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I was kind of like speechless when I saw how they represented that, because apparently he's supposed to be this all-powerful being, or just about an all-powerful being. He's what's called a Maiar, which is more or less an angel, or a demon, in his case, a fallen angel. And you would think that maybe they would represent it with, you know, if they absolutely had to have the orcs betray him and, you know, terminate him, you'd think that they would represent it in some sort of a way where maybe, you know, he takes a spiritual form, or maybe they represent it as him receding into the unseen world, which is a big part of the Lord of the Rings. That's basically where Sauron exists, is in the unseen realm. And you'd think that maybe they would represent that, but no, he turned into a glob of slime that eventually will, I would assume, probably in the 5th season, will take over Topher Grace at the end of the show.
Topher Grace. I'm just waiting for Tom Hardy to show up and being all confused, like, huh?
Yeah. Oh no!
Good to see you, Mr. Brock.
Yeah.
Who are you?
That shows you how caught up I am with modern entertainment. I went straight back to Spider-Man 3. Tobey Maguire.
I was making the connection. I was like, hold on, I'm missing a lot of things here. But that makes more sense. I'm so sorry. But I was really
gotta
good.
continue the memes, Nomi. We gotta continue the memes, okay?
But I for a split second, I was doubting, because like, Topher Grace isn't in Lord of the Rings, unless they like really just like put a lot of makeup on him very well, where I can't tell. But I don't know. But that was just me. I was doubting you, but that was a good one.
Some
got me on that one.
Some say Topher fell from grace, but that's another story.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think he's the only
That's another
one.
story for another stream.
Isn't he the only one out of that entire cast that isn't actually weird?
I mean,
Like everyone
True.
who's not is kind of weirdo. Like
Yeah.
he's the
I
only
think
one
you're
that's
right.
not.
I did hear he
most
was a bit of a dick, though. Like
He
Oh,
is.
really?
real. Yeah.
Well,
He
at least
is.
I take that over, all the other stuff that other people did. On it.
See, here's the thing with Rings of Power, right? I don't have a problem like with casting fresh faces that are not exactly known, because it did work for Breaking Bad, for example. If you look at like Aaron Paul, nobody actually knew who he was before that, right? Apart from ones who watched like what was that game show he was on?
No idea.
He was on a game show before, actually, before he was famous. It was pretty funny. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But yeah, nobody knew who Aaron Paul was until then. Most people only knew Bryan Cranston from Malcolm in the Middle, maybe, if we're being generous
And
here.
Power Rangers.
Zordon. He was Zordon, true.
Yeah.
Zordon?
Yep, he was Zordon.
No way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Even though I was not allowed to watch Power Rangers, I knew that was Bryan Cranston. I was like, when I saw him in Malcolm in the Middle, I was like, that's Zordon.
Wait, hold on. Can we expand on this for just a second? You weren't allowed to watch Power Rangers?
Yep.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't allowed to watch Power Rangers.
Oh wow. I'm curious as to the reasoning.
My parents just didn't really like a lot of American shows that were out because my parents are from Mexico, so they just didn't know what the culture was about. Why was it the super hyper fixation of kids loving Power Rangers? And my parents did think that it had like some demonic presence in it, so they kept us away from it. So yeah.
The reason I'm so curious is because I actually relate to that a lot, because I wasn't allowed to watch Harry Potter. And let's see, Yu-Gi-Oh was another one that I used to really love to watch, and my parents saw it. They're like, no. And then there's also Dragon Ball Z that I didn't get to finish. I finished the Cell Saga, and that's about as far as I got with that one.
Yeah, my parents said that all anime and stuff was all demonic, and I still watched it anyway.
I was so heartbroken when I was told that I was not allowed to watch Sailor Moon. It's like, but it's Sailor Moon. It's like there's nothing wrong with it.
Sailor Moon when I was growing up.
I know.
My parents also said like a lot of the music, because they had record players that if you turn it around, like you would hear satanic stuff. So I was the stupid kid that went and turned it around and listened to it.
Oh my god.
Real quick, while we're on the topic of Power Rangers, I actually have something in the chat that might be interesting for some of those who actually grew up watching it.
Is it the main theme, which is probably the dopest piece of music ever written?
And that's still the greatest piece of music. And I can prove to you that I actually used to be a big Power Rangers fan. Let me just look for the image real quick. But
Chris Sands was not allowed to watch Power Rangers because it was too violent.
it was rated 16 in Germany, and I watched it when I was 8 years old or something.
It was rated 16 in Germany? Really?
Yeah, because it was deemed too violent back in the day.
That's interesting.
Well, so you can relate to Chrysanth on that one with the German government and this. So I saw your link, Smu. Did this actually happen? I don't know if I'm allowed to play it without sound.
You can play with that. We can play without sound. You should be fine. But this is happening. Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, like this is happening now, or because I
it's coming. It's coming out. It's coming out soon.
Oh, I missed the 2024. I thought this was old.
Wow.
No, this is actually coming out this year.
An anime? Oh, an action game.
No way. Okay.
It's like the Ninja Turtles game that came out like a few years ago.
It is like Ninja Turtles.
Dude, I am in. This looks dope.
Stopping Rita.
Did they seriously give the putties like clothes?
What?
The putties.
Yeah,
her minions.
Yeah, they gave him a few pieces of clothing. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Can you customize your outfit?
So
Probably
cool.
not. I wonder if you can unlock like different Power Rangers outfits.
Like, could you get
that is so
the
cool.
White
Surprise
Ranger?
me.
Yeah, if you can get the White Ranger, Green Ranger, all those. Yeah.
Is this a PC game?
You can play this on Switch, PC, and I think PlayStation as well.
Oh,
I think it will have crossplay.
I want to play this game.
This looks awesome.
The animation.
You get to so you get to play as a Zord. There's even 3. Oh man, I'm in.
This is so retro looking. That's even more
It
retro
is.
looking than
I
this,
like
than the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's
This
like
looks like-
playing
it's like
Mortal
4
Kombat.
different- Yeah, it's like 4 different games in one on the
Mhm.
SNES.
It's like Battletoads. It's Battletoads
Yeah.
essentially. If you remember
This
this
Um,
game.
brings me back to like trying to play Mortal Kombat, and like
Mhm.
my cousins had like a Nintendo, and they would keep it under lock and key. Yes, I'm not kidding. They had it in a case that was locked, so I couldn't get to it and nobody else could. So they would lock it. So I had to like beg them to let me play it. Kind of like this brings me back like those vibes of like being like, can I play, please?
Yeah, the 90s are back, like literally with this one.
That's
I'm still looking for that
cool.
picture.
I like that. I don't know if anyone remembered or played the game, like the Simpsons game, the arcade
Oh
one.
yeah, these
This-
Konami one. Yeah,
this
I
one-
remember that one.
This is what it kind of reminds me of, like
Oh,
how
yeah.
they go in the
Mhm.
street and then they go on top of the buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
If you need a game to play with 6 people, go ahead and check out the Ninja Turtles game because you can play with up to 6 people and it's cross-platform. It's just insane.
Wait, who are the
6
other
people.
Ninja Turtles?
Well, you got the regular ones. You got April O'Neil. You can play. Where are the other ones?
Can you
Is
play
uh,
Schneider?
Casey Jones? Is it Casey Jones? Is that
Casey
his name?
Jones. Casey Jones is playable, but you have to beat the game to play him. Then you
Really?
got
Okay, well then that's
Shredder?
No, Shredder is the enemy, but you can play Splinter.
Aw.
There's
wanna
like
play
8
Shredder.
or 9 different characters. But yeah, the ultimate proof that I used to watch Power Rangers. By the way, let me just blow up my screen real quick. I actually have a Power Rangers shirt on this picture.
Oh, cute.
It's like 4. It's like 6. It's like 6-year-old dude.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Wrong
That's
video.
awesome.
Sorry, Sue.
That's okay.
There we go.
You can barely see it, but I actually wore one on this.
Aw.
That is awesome.
Oh, baby
I,
Sue.
I used to love Power Rangers.
It's
Like,
little baby Smu.
Yeah.
yep,
And
that was 6-year-old
Which
me.
Power Ranger were you?
The green one, because I thought he was cool.
the green one was awesome. I always thought my first exposure to Power Rangers was the movie with Ivan Ooze.
Mm.
And then I went back
Ooh.
and got the VHSs and stuff like that. But like with Ivan
Yeah.
Ooze, and the white one was always the coolest because he had the snowboard that he was skydiving with.
Yeah,
It's like
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
is
that's-
the
that's-
coolest thing I've ever seen.
Wow,
So
VHS,
red, dude.
that's so retro.
Oh man.
I wonder if people
Bring
still have
back.
VHS tapes.
I do. I have
You
some
can-
in storage, but I definitely don't have my more.
you can get certain movies on VHS still, which is still surprising to me. But yeah,
I know, like I had, my parents got me like a long time ago, like a bunch of like the Metallica box in VHS tapes. It's like so you could buy the box, but I never really had a VHS player to like play it, and I should probably find. I think they have it. If they like knowing them, they probably threw it away. But hopefully they still have it. Like
Wait, so have you not watched it?
mm-mm. I have it like on like DVDs because you can buy it through Apple. You can buy basically the entire
Oh.
collection
So you have seen it, just not on VHS. I get it.
Yeah. on VHS.
Okay.
Well, you can find them for $5 at Goodwill or something.
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, that's a little backstory of like, yes, I wasn't allowed to watch Power Rangers, but you know, that's a different story for a different time.
Yeah.
But when
I
we
actually
do have
to circle back. I mean, I did have to convince my parents back when I was, I think, in 5th grade to let me watch Lord of the Rings. Because it was all
Really?
like, oh yeah, because they didn't know anything about Tolkien, and I knew just enough to let them know, like, oh yeah, this is good versus evil. Tolkien was like, he was a devout Catholic. Like there's a lot of symbolism in here. This is a very Christian work. And my parents were like, okay, there's like ghosts and stuff in there, but okay.
And that's why I was allowed to read and watch the movies, because they heard on some Christian network that J.R.R. Tolkien was good friends with C.S. Lewis, which is one of my favorite authors. So like, no, if they had both have an influence on each other and it's based on biblical themes, then yeah, you're allowed to watch it. It's like, okay, like that's weird, but okay. But yeah, like my parents had no problem us watching the movies or reading the books, and I loved them. But yeah, so and I loved growing up reading the Chronicles of Narnia and the Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. So I just know that Lord of the Rings has a massive impact on us, those who did read it growing up, versus the shills that are trying to ship it and like, oh yeah, this is so cute. It's like, what are you trying to make of this? Like this, you can't make it to your own molding, your own liking, because this is not how it's supposed to be.
I hate how they just try to ruin something that is good. Like there is no reason for it. Like it stands by itself. There's no reason why you have to put some type of agenda in it and then make it bad.
There's no reason for it. No.
Well, so was it Jeff Bezos who said he wanted his own Game of Thrones, and then they promptly bought they brought the appendices to Lord of the Rings and all this stuff. Well, Sargon of Akkad, for those of you who are familiar with it, he's much more articulate than I could ever hope to be. But he actually talked about this today in a video that he just put out, and sort of compared Game of Thrones or A Song of Ice and Fire to Lord of the Rings and Tolkien's work, and how when you try to take something that is quote unquote black and white, simply put, and try to turn it into a morally gray type story, especially when it turns into fantasy, you end up backing yourself into a corner because things just doesn't work. Like you can't, there's no amount of rules that you could set in a given world that could make a story work, which is why, we've been expecting Winds of Winter for what, 5 years now?
Yep.
Still haven't gotten it because he wrote himself into a corner because when you take something that's supposed to be good and evil and try to make it morally gray, you just end up writing yourself in circles. Well, the hero is actually the heroism of the downfall because the bad guy was actually wise in that he used his power to gain, or he used his cunning to gain power, and you just end up writing yourself in circles. So you don't want the bad guy to win. Good guy can't win because is being seen as a weakness.
I think Martin
That's
has
my
a
little
whole
tangent.
different. I think Martin has a whole different mindset on that. Well, to me, I see it as he doesn't want to finish the books. Like he probably already knows the ending that he wants. He just saw the fan reaction to what HBO did, and he feels like whatever ending he puts out, people are not going to be happy with it, and they're just gonna keep attacking him for it. So I think he knows how he wants to end it. He just doesn't want to do it. That's what it feels like to me, because I don't think you can go on this long without him having an ending. I just feel like, he's putting it off because he's like, nope, there's no way to make the fans happy, because then if the people that originally liked the ending to Game of Thrones are going to be unhappy, and if I don't end it this certain way, the way the other fans wanted it, then I'm going to piss off this side. And I think that's why he's...
Well, didn't he recently come out and say that the ending of season 8 is partially how he wrote it and partially not how he wrote it? It was a bit of a hodgepodge or something. It was very, very weird. And he even said himself, like, people will be very upset if I release my actual ending.
Well, that's the
like,
thing.
no-
I think that's why he's not doing it.
He's
It's
scared.
because
He's scared.
well, he's not focusing on just wanting to write a story for the love of it and wanting to finish the characters on his own terms and finish the story how he wants it. He's so concerned with how everyone else is going to view it now. And that's why he keeps coming up with a new excuse every few weeks to not do it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not the best way to write. I mean, my sister is a writer, and she even says, like, you might plan out stuff, but sometimes the characters end up doing their own thing, right? And you kind of have to follow where the characters are going based on how the characters are, because they take a personality of their own. You can't force shit into them where it's not gonna work out. You kind of have to let the story develop and tell itself. And I mean, like, it kind of reminds me of, I mean, Brandon Sanderson is an amazing writer, right? I like his books. I really like Mistborn. I like everything that he has done, but also did not agree with his version of how the Wheel of Time ended, because he was not the one who wrote it, so he didn't have all the characters in mind in terms of how, like, what the ending was supposed to be like. You know, it's like it's the same thing. Like if you think about Dune, right? When they wrote the last book of Dune, it's like they don't understand the characters the same way that the author does, and it's just if you have too many cooks in the kitchen, or if you try to push your agenda too much, you're destroying something that could be great, that could be amazing.
Mhm.
And it seems to me that a lot of people, in service to the story, they will use their characters as tools or vehicles for the plot, as opposed to using the characters as characters.
Yep.
Mhm. And then also, this is kind of what is expected of an author. I've read books where it's not what I wanted it to be. I was upset, but I still wanted more. And then George Martin would understand, like, we would still forgive him, even though it's not how we want the book to go. We just want something more to come out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, we know, like, someone's going to be dead. We know something's going to happen that it's not going to be pretty. We're still going to want another. Oh, go ahead.
That was probably HBO's fault too, is that they shouldn't have committed to making a TV show where all of the books hadn't been written, because that put them in a really weird position. Instead of adapting something like the Harry Potter series, the books are already done, so you can basically change things if you need to adapt it into an actual TV show. But they knew that these books were not finished, and they knew that the seasons to make a TV show is going to go quicker than to write a book. So you couldn't put that pressure on Martin to just finish the books and be like, hey, so, you know, we're coming up on this season and we need you to hurry up and write these books for us. And it just doesn't work that way. They probably put a lot of pressure on it too.
And George is like, I have books to write?
Yeah, writing books takes a really long time. I mean,
it does.
And it also depends on the quality too. But like, I know that my sister, like, once she writes a book, she sends it to her editor, her you know, the publishing house. They edit, they give feedback, then they send it to other people for them to edit and give feedback. And this continuous working process that lasts like 2 years or 3 years for one novel, right? Because that's the process that it takes for something to be great. You can't rush something like that. And definitely, if you don't know what the end goal is, if you're doing a TV show or a movie, you are putting yourself in a corner. Like Smu said, you are putting yourself in a horrible corner that later on you're gonna be screwed, because then you don't know where you're going.
Yep. And I mean, Martin could have done it this way. Give maybe some cliff notes to Brandon Sanderson saying like, hey, don't deviate from this, stick to this, and have him finish the book for him. Because clearly George R. R. Martin doesn't want to do it himself. And people keep on egging him on, like, just give it to Brandon Sanderson. He will finish it for you.
Brandon
That's probably what's
Sanderson
going to happen if he dies.
Yeah, Brandon Sanderson has finished so many books for so many people.
It's insane. It's insane.
It's crazy.
I have no idea how he can put out so many books at the same time. It's insane. The output that man has, I have no idea if he's a robot or something, but man.
Some people are blessed. Like for me, it would take me forever to write anything, honestly. But some people are blessed in the literary arts, just like some people are more blessed with crafts and arts. Right? It's just not me.
Yep.
Yeah.
No. And then I was going to bring this on up here. I just lost it. I'm so sorry, guys.
Ain't that the truth? He does. Ain't that the truth? Well, he and Shat should work together. Maybe he will put up some more books then.
Yeah. So, like how Forbes is saying that it shouldn't commit to 5 seasons, but yet Deadline's like, yeah, it's gaining steam. Like,
so
from who?
Gaining steam from who? Their own farts.
Their
own farts. They're huffing. They're huffing their own farts a bit too much, I think. That's what's happening.
So I'm curious. Who owns Deadline? Because this, you know what this reads like. it reads like them reassuring their stakeholders, like, no, this is a good bet. Like, it'll be good. It'll have a good return on investment. Trust us.
Yeah, probably those who like put. Well, I don't know. Did anybody help produce it besides Amazon?
I think Weta may have had a little bit of a part to play in it, but not much. Unless I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure Weta had a little bit to do with it.
So Deadline is owned by the Penske Media Corporation, who also owns Hollywood Daily, which is the same one as Deadline.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Because I know Bezos. Is it the Atlantic?
Yes, his wife owns the Atlantic, or
Yeah.
not his wife.
McKinsey.
Not Mackenzie. Mackenzie doesn't. I think Mackenzie's a good one. Isn't it? No, it was someone who unalived in a jail cell. His assistant. Maxwell.
That guy. Yeah.
Maxwell, they're friends.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. The one who helped that one a lot. But yeah, it's not Bezos. It's Apple, isn't it? It's one of those. That's gonna be bothering me.
Right.
But yes, because Bezos and his first wife, they're no longer married, and he has some sort of like not Botox filled girl.
Botox girl.
But yes, the
Lorraine Jobs owns it, which is Steve Jobs' widow. So I was wrong on that. I apologize.
It was one of the big multi-millionaires' wives. Yes. But yeah, no, it's just they're all friends with each other. So they're just like, yeah, we'll totally put out an article saying like your show is great, guys. Totally good. We have a good following. We got good readers when we got 19 comments on this article here.
I mean, if you look at it, like 40 million viewers in the first 11 days, that's pathetic. Even for a show of that caliber, it is pathetic. I think season 1 did double of that within that time frame. And if you look at like House of the Dragon season 2, how well that did within that time frame, that's even more pathetic then. When you compare this to House of the Dragon,
Plus, you have to keep in mind that they released 3 episodes, so people have to
three at the same time
be watching them, and that's why they do it. If they were to release 1 episode and people see right away that it's not a good show, they're not going to stick around like week after week to keep watching it. So you get 3 all at once, and it kind of bumps up your viewership.
What's also interesting is that PMC, which is the owner of Deadline, which I'm talking about, they advertise that their videos get 101 million views, that the global reach is 412 million users. So for, when you count like the reach that they advertise that they have, and they have a lot of brands under that. So under them, they have Billboard, they have, apparently they have a car, some car type of, it's called Penske Auto Sports, so some type of car advertising thing. They have Golden Globe Awards. They have a lot of stuff in that follows that. So I can see why they're part of that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, there's a lot of cope in this article too. Because it says in here, it is common for a series to lose some of its audience between seasons, especially given that there's 2 years between Rings of Power has been faced with a steeper than usual decline, though it is entirely possible that it will reclaim some of that audience by the end of the season. There's a lot of optimism in there.
That sounds like Ubisoft.
Cautiously optimistic.
That sounds like Ubisoft. And let me tell you what, Ubisoft's shares are declining rapidly.
I have more money in my pocket than Ubisoft shares are worth at the moment. And that's saying something.
Well, and that's
I think they say that. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Just super quick. I was just gonna say they probably anticipate that because most people come back to watch how the season ends. So that's where they're anticipating that it's going to go back up. Kind of like the Acolyte, how it kind of lost a lot of viewers during the middle, but then everybody was like, ooh, let's see how they end this and how much of a mess it's going to be. So I don't think it's because the viewers. Yeah, I don't think it's because the viewers are going to come back and be like, oh, I totally care about this TV show. No, there's a lot of people that come back to be like, let's see how they end this and to see if it's just going to be as messy as last season.
I think what I would want to know. I think what I would want to know is the statistics of first-time viewers, repeated viewers, right? Who is coming back? Because they have that. They have that information, right? You have unique viewers, repeated viewers that are coming back, and then what platform. And then they probably also have if they think of the show in a negative light or in a positive light. Because usually they take a lot of surveys, and also they monitor a lot because your information is sold on the internet, whether you like it or not. It's usually sold. So they have a way to track it because they will spend the money in tracking those statistics. So I'm kind of wondering, and I hope that it's released, and I'm sure some of the information is available and now that you kind of have that information there, because I'm wondering how much of that is people who really love the show, people who don't care, people who hate it.
Well, apparently the Nielsen numbers will be made available later this month, so I guess we'll see. But
I kind of want to
triumph, y'all.
I'm kind of curious because wasn't it like beginning of the season, like all these little shills accounts on Instagram were like, I love you, and like all these like obnoxious postings of it, and they're saying that they're shipping it. Maybe they're just hiring these influencers like, hey guys, can you just shill the heck out of this so we can get like your followers or your people, like your generation, to come and watch what you're watching because you know what's cool, what's hip. So I think that's what they're kind of betting on, is using the influencers to bring their audience to watch this.
Do you remember the cringe influencers they tried to get for season 1 of Rings of Power? When they were asked if they actually watched, they were like, nah, I would rather watch Hot D instead, and then I'll watch Rings of Power. And I was like, wow. It was even one of the ones who was like shilling very hard for like Sauron being like with Galadriel and all that stuff. And I was like, man, showed your true colors relatively quick there, didn't you?
It's like they didn't even try with those guys.
No. I can fix him. Remember that guy?
Oh,
that's why they didn't come back for season 2 to promote that.
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah. Well, I think they found out that Tolkien fans are a little bit more astute than other franchises. Not to naysay any other franchises, but I mean, there's a lot of stuff that they just either one, the Tolkien fan base has seen it enough to recognize BS when they see it. Yep. Or two, they just weren't going to get away with it anyway because Tolkien's work is so highly revered.
See,
they've got college classes on it.
I want to have a triple comparison. I want to have a comparison between Hot D season 2, Rings of Power season 2, and then The Acolyte. I want to see those viewing numbers in comparison because people claim that The Acolyte did better than some episodes of Hot D, which is a bunch of bollocks if you really think about it, because Acolyte didn't even make it half of what Andor did, and Andor was a pretty good series from what people told me, and I've actually watched it as well, and I can definitely say it's the best thing that Disney Star Wars put out, but nobody watched it. It is, and you can definitely tell it's like made in a bubble because it's like a prequel to Rogue One, but
was that Favreau who did
Rogue
that?
One. No, it wasn't Favreau. It was my God, what was the director's name again? Let me look up real quick. It was I think it was Gold. What's his name again? Something with Gold. Let me see.
Maybe
Toby Haynes did most of it. He actually directed some Star Trek stuff now as well. And Tony Gilroy was the showrunner. He actually curated, and it was pretty good, well made. But yeah, barely anyone watched it. Promotion for Shields and Influence.
Where'd the money go?
It went there.
I said before, I looked at
Yeah.
I thought it was a
down
big
the
money
toilet.
laundering scheme.
Yeah, money laundering
it
scheme.
was.
So
I mean,
go ahead. So.
I got the official answer in the chat where the money went. I just posted it in the YouTube chat.
Yep.
That's where it went.
Oh, yes, it did. Yes, it did. But yeah, like we can. I don't know, but there's people like Gary who live to watch this and say his honest thoughts about it. So if there's no, we already seen it with the Acolyte. If there's no Acolyte, there's no content, and if there's no Rings of Power, there's no content. So I don't know. You can keep making that so people can bank on it and give their honest thoughts on it versus like, yeah, guys, this is a hit show. It's the OC of our generation.
Kind of is.
Oh my god, no way.
I know.
I'm debating with myself whether or not I should watch Agatha and make a review out of it because I'm morbidly curious how actually shit that show is. I watched She-Hulk, so it can't be worse than She-Hulk.
Never say that. Never say a new thing can be worse.
You just jinxed it.
Well, what I'm going to do though is watch the Daredevil show because no, go lower. Heck no. I would definitely watch the Daredevil show because I love the Netflix series. So I'm curious about the Disney show because they will probably fluff it up a little.
I think I'm actually gonna watch Agatha all along because it's like. It's witchy and all of that stuff, so it's kind of something I would normally watch. But then, Smu, I think something's going on with your microphone.
He sounds okay to me.
Yeah. Oh, because I was getting him like after, or is it me?
Oh, okay. All right, no worries.
He sounded
It might be you. It might be you because
it might be me. Oh no. Okay, hold on. I'll be back. I'll be back.
Okay, we'll wait for you. But well, I was gonna give Sevvy an out, but we all know who Sevvy is. Lily knows who Sevvy is, but unless you want to wait, Sevvy, to say your goodbyes, we can because I kind of want to pick something. I don't know who watched this or how beloved this is to everybody, but they're also doing a Goonies remake.
I saw that. I don't know how I feel about it. But I do have to go. I think what I will just quickly tell everybody, just in case you don't know, you can find me at Geeks and Gamers at Tabletop and over at MoonSkull. We currently have a new show that is going to be debuting, and MoonSkull is going to be horror, scary, spooky, maybe. We shall see. So if you are interested in joining and being a cast member, please head over to our Discord. It's tagged in the community post in Geeks and Gamers Tabletop and MoonSkull, so you can go check it out. And if you're interested, just please feel free to apply. And I can't wait to see the show and what happens. And thank you, everybody, for having me. Much love, hearts to everybody.
Bye, Sevvy. Have a good
Sevs.
evening.
Later, Sevvy.
Bye.
I will see
Thanks,
you
Sevvy.
later.
Bye, Sevvy.
Have a good night.
Everyone.
Yes.
Who's
So
back?
Lily, I don't know if you saw this yet, but this is just a small segue before we go into something else. But they're also remaking the Goonies
With the original cast.
Oh yeah, I saw this.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense, but is Sean Astin a little bit too old for that
I'm very
movie?
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Sean Astin, but
I mean,
He's a little too
Oh.
cringe for me these days.
this movie.
Yes. No, he is.
He is.
Just a little.
I try not to keep up with them, so I can.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too.
I like to keep the people who are in Lord of the Rings on a pedestal, so I try not to keep up with anything that they're saying.
That's fair.
So-
That's fair, yeah. I mean, the only one in the cast
Yeah.
that could pass as a slightly aged man in that movie could be Ke Huy Quan, who played Short Round in Indiana
Yeah.
Jones. He could be the only one who would be like, "Hey guys, I barely aged. Look at me.
I'm just
He still
taller.
looks the same. I'm just taller." Yeah, it's insane how little he aged in that
He's
time.
a great actor too. Was it
He is a
Everything
great
Everywhere All at Once that he was in?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Oh man,
Yep.
he was fantastic.
Mhm.
No.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, this is not going to go well because it didn't look wow for the numbers of Beetlejuice either. So, I mean, the numbers was good, but from my conflicting stories that I hear, why would you still want to like do the member berries again?
This is where artificial intelligence is going to come into play. And this just occurred to me because obviously, and I think people know it, that people are getting sick of things being rebooted. You know, I'm sick of seeing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And it seems like the only thing that is going to ever be able to come up with something new is going to be something that's not human, because humans apparently are incapable of, you know, not rehashing something that's already been done.
Well, if you have a talented writer, maybe, but considering half the talent, or well, I'll put talent in air quotes here, in Hollywood is now mostly just talentless hacks and diversity hires. You can't expect them to come up with their own ideas apart from their possibly lived experience. I mean, just look at Lesbian Headlamp and Acolyte. With that one specific scene in where she made Osha look at that guy's crotch. I mean, that must have been a lived experience from Leslie Hetland. You can tell me otherwise.
Well, when you have a whole market that's saturated with, you know, half talented people that just graduated and are participating in job placement programs, this is what you get.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, where's this modern audience that they keep talking about? Where is it? I can't find it. It's like playing Where's Waldo with it.
The modern audience hates what they're doing.
They haven't graduated high school yet.
Most of them don't even know they were born, to be fair.
Yes. True. But I know earlier in the news not today, but this week, it's been a hard week because we got 2 passings today. Well, not today, but like fast. But did you grow up watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Moss?
I hate to admit it, but no, I never actually watched the cartoon. I had the live action movies I did, but I was not privy to the cartoons, unfortunately. So now I'm gonna have to give myself a little bit of homework and go back and watch them.
Smu, I knew you watched them. I vaguely remember them. It was more of my brother who watched them, but
funnily enough, I watched most of the animated series on TV when it was airing, but it was usually like 10 o'clock or something, 10 o'clock in the morning. And I used to listen to the cassettes of the episodes. I used to have like cassettes of the Ninja Turtle show in German. Listen to those like until the tape wore out.
I kind of want to hear that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like from all the like the action scenes, the yelling parts on it.
It is amazingly well done. Honestly, I was a bit skeptical at first myself, and I was like, interesting.
So what is it? What do they say when they're like radical, tubular?
Cowabunga.
Cowabunga's still the same. It's just like, well, awesome, dude. You know, just some dumb things, really. It's the same like with the. I don't know if you guys remember the knockoff Ghostbusters that happened after in the late 90s, where they had a gorilla as a companion. Because they had
like the animated series.
It was an animated series. It wasn't with it Tracy the gorilla or monkey or something.
Yeah,
but it was like a knockoff of the actual Ghostbusters.
I don't remember that.
I'm not familiar with that one.
You should look it up, but it's actually awkwardly entertaining for a 90s knockoff. But yeah, it's a shame. Yeah. I mean, it's a shame that he died, but I mean, 89 years is not an age you frown upon, because that's quite old for our standards these days.
Well above average, yeah.
That is a life that has been lived.
I mean, he will always be my Master Splinter, always. And I think he also did the voice for Splinter in the video game that I sent to Moss and Sevvy, because they actually brought back the original voice cast from the 90s for that one too.
Really?
Yep. They paid a lot of money.
I bet.
But yeah, it's a shame he passed away, but you know, such is life. It's part of it. May he rest in peace, and you will always be my Master Splinter. So.
And then segue into this sad one.
Yeah.
I mean, he's even older, so that's about
93.
Yeah. So I mean, but
See-
James Earl Jones. I mean, he was obviously Darth Vader, but Mufasa.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I didn't even realize he was in Conan the Barbarian, but I watched a clip of him in Conan the Barbarian, and I was like, this dude's a freaking
Yep.
legend.
And he didn't say a word in that scene. That was the best thing. That one scene, that one clip I saw. It was
Yeah.
It was in Stargate as well. In one episode. SG-1.
Yeah, Field of Dreams. He
Mhm.
did Hunt for the
Great movie, by the way. Field of
like
Dreams
he
is
was in
great
a lot
movie.
of stuff. But yeah, I think a lot of people, mostly our age, probably remember him as Mufasa first, and then we realized that he
Yep.
voiced Darth Vader a little bit after.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
He was also in The Great White Hope as a boxer.
Really?
Movie. Yep, he was in that movie as well. Very young as well. The thing is, I don't remember James Earl Jones being young. That's because I saw him in Doctor House as the African dictator, Dibala or something. He was in like 3 or 4 episodes. Well, of course, then you have the Mufasa and also Vader.
He was in Coming to America too. Like,
Coming
he was
to
in a lot
America
of
1 and 2.
Wow.
He was in both.
I
He was in both.
remember.
Yeah, like a lot of people remember him for so many different things, and I think that's probably a testament to his acting, is that different people liked different works of his. It's not just like
Mhm.
one
Mhm.
character that everyone's like, oh yeah, he was just this one thing. No, like I saw my entire timeline. There were people that were talking about him from Conan, as Darth Vader, Mufasa, Field of Dreams. Like I
Mhm.
saw everyone kind of saying their favorite. So yeah,
I
he
mean,
was-
Here's my special performance from him. The intro to Judge Dredd, the original.
yeah.
He did the
Yeah.
intro. He did the intro for that one.
I mean, his credits on IMDb are a mile long. He's had such
insane.
a career.
Yep. Great actor though.
So that
He will be
is
missed.
a life to be lived for sure. One thing that
Exactly.
we know that he probably you know what? I mean, rest in peace. But I'm pretty sure he didn't want to go to the premiere of Mufasa, Disney's Mufasa, that's coming out later this year.
Do
The
you
thing
know?
is, he did voice Mufasa in the live action movie as well.
The first one?
In the first live action one, yep.
Okay.
I didn't know that too either, but yeah, he did.
Oh, what were you going to say, Moss?
Oh, well, I was actually going to ask. I assume he's not voicing. I don't know anything about this Mufasa movie that's coming out, but I guess he's not credited in that movie. Oh no, I'm looking at the picture.
No,
He's
it's
just a little lion.
Aaron Pierre. Aaron Pierre is voicing him.
Well, because that's supposed to be baby Mufasa.
Oh, Donald
Yeah.
Glover is in that movie.
Donald Glover's Simba. Yeah, Mads Mikkelsen. Beyonce's in it.
Okay.
Oh boy. I'm getting fed up with Beyonce.
Oh, I'm looking at the Lion
Keith
King.
David.
I'm supposed to be looking at Mufasa. What the heck? What is
Holy
going on?
smokes, they got Keith David? They got Keith David for that movie? Holy smokes. Man. Well, the more you know.
Yes. The more
And then it did take the Star Wars account forever to say anything. And if you follow their account, they forget about his birthday every single year. And of course, the day that he passed. And I know a lot of people were saying, well, it takes a while for them to put out a statement. Okay, I understand that. But you can put out a preliminary statement to actually acknowledge his passing, and then you can put out a longer statement including everyone else and what they said. And then something that's just me nitpicking is that in the official statement they actually put what Kathleen Kennedy thought before George Lucas. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, George Lucas is the creator of all of this, and you guys chose to put Kathleen Kennedy at the top because of course you did. But that was just so disrespectful the entire time. Like they couldn't even wish him a happy birthday any single year.
Disney Star Wars is beyond saving at this point. Let's just put it that way. But what even pissed me off even more was when they repurposed his voice for Kenobi. They made a voice change and tried to duplicate his voice, and it sounded so terrible.
Yeah,
I'm just scared they use AI to actually redo his voice again.
Anytime going forward, I believe that Disney did acquire the rights to use his voice. So anytime we hear Darth Vader in the future, that is going to be like an AI version of him now.
I just feel it feels so
I'll drink to
grimy.
that.
So
It feels so
soulless.
grimy. Yeah, it's just gross.
It just felt off when he was talking. You could tell it was like AI generated because it just didn't sound right.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy and I, we watched some clips from his past works yesterday. We made a joke about you could easily put a Darth Vader voice filter over some of the stuff he speaks in other movies. You could apply that to Vader and it would actually fit. It's pretty damn funny. But yeah, this one's here's to you, Mr. Jones. Rest in peace.
Yeah, but the official Star Wars account won't forget Manny Moncito's birthday, but you know,
Well,
whatever.
To be
Well,
fair,
I mean, they did fire him on his birthday.
I know.
great birthday gift, by the way.
Blow your candles, make a wish.
That must
Yep.
have sucked. It's like, yay, it's my birthday. Oh, I don't have a job no more.
Manny, are you okay? Yeah.
Well, speaking of those who kind of don't have jobs, and if you're interested, there's a kind of an opportunity for you guys, and that is the casting call for Harry Potter.
Oh my
I'm a little kid. Can I apply?
what if we
I-
identify as children?
I can make my hair
Oh,
curly.
God.
I am a man child, okay?
Oh, I'm sure they'll get some.
They said they wanted to be inclusive and diverse, and they were taking, all kinds of considerations. So, come on.
That's true. I mean, don't be ageist, guys. I am fit to be in
Exactly.
this show for you guys.
I
So
do
it's
love
not
how
doing so good. Oh, go ahead, Moss.
I do love how they do clarify in there that they want them to be resident of the UK. But now, I mean, UK is basically 50% Middle Eastern, so they really
Oh,
If you go with
Yeah.
London, specifically, yes. I mean, could you
Yes.
imagine like Harry Potter being like British Polish or like Hermione being like Jamaican or something like that, or like a Commonwealth country? That'd be pretty funny. Hey man, give me the rod. I'm gonna cast the spell on you. Kind of thing. It's like what? Excuse me?
don't you practice voodoo? Sorry. That would be just
Kind of.
me. But yeah, no, it's not doing great for the Harry Potter people over HBO because they thought they knew better than J.K. Rowling. Bless their little
Well,
heart.
So didn't J.K. Rowling go back and basically retroactively make Dumbledore gay?
Yeah.
Am I-
In the Fantastic Beasts movies.
Yeah. So I mean,
Funnily enough, I watched that movie on the plane to fall asleep to.
I don't know.
She did.
J.K. Rowling does have some base takes, but I mean, she's also not necessary. Just because she has some base takes doesn't mean that she's based in general. Like she could be all for this.
Well, she
she
tweeted it out.
Yeah,
Oh, well,
so
there you go.
She's supposed to be heavily involved in all of this. So I'm pretty sure whatever decisions they make, like she's actually gonna have the final say in it, I'm guessing.
Mhm.
And from what I understand, I mean, she was all for it when they did the stage play that they race swapped Hermione.
Mhm.
So I think that's where everyone thinks that the inclusive, diverse casting is going to come into play for this TV show.
Specifically Hermione.
Yep.
Hermione. Because
That's crazy.
they never really say what people were reaching. And if you read the Harry Potter books, it's never really stated like her skin tone or whatever. But because of the way they describe her hair, people were reaching and going out on a limb and saying that Hermione was black. Which I don't know about you guys, but when I was a little girl, my hair was always messy. So
I think
And
children
the-
in general just have messy hair.
yeah. So I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, just.
I
Go
would
ahead,
rather
Smu.
watch an actual budgeted Harry Potter with guns.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? Harry Potter
Yeah.
with guns is pretty funny.
I've
I wanna
seen that
see an
clip,
actual
yeah.
version of that one. It's pretty good.
I
I
would.
want that.
I think I would see that movie more often than I'm willing to admit that I would see it, because that's more exciting to me.
Well, here's the thing though. If let's go with the casting, right? So they want British people to be the main cast, right? Who's going to be playing the headmaster? It has to be an old man or an old woman.
Mhm.
I mean, we had Simon Pegg as the headmaster in Hogwarts Legacy. Don't forget. So he could play the headmaster of Hogwarts as well if he wanted to.
Oh, you're right.
Everybody does love Simon Pegg.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I do have the
Kinda.
game.
No?
And that I
Are you
can
not a
hear
fan
it
of Simon
now.
Pegg?
I like it.
Simon Pegg is. I mean, Simon Pegg is okay, but he's got some takes where I'm like, yeah, no, dude, just stay in your lane, piss off.
Oh, okay.
Kinda.
That's another one that I haven't heard his opinions.
Well, just be glad because he called She-Hulk the bomb, and I don't take his opinion seriously on that one.
Oh,
Yeah.
Gross.
He's a
Yeah,
great. Don't get me wrong, he's a
glad.
great actor, but yeah.
Well, so did
Yeah,
Ewan
just-
McGregor.
Be glad you're not following these people's opinions. You would not like half of them. They're
Ewan McGregor especially. Oh,
Oh
my
yeah,
god.
Ewan McGregor is another one who's just.
You're
It wasn't
no
the
true
She-Hulk.
Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
You're no true Star Wars fan in my mind, and I was like, yeah, sure, Ewan, sure.
hmm
I mean,
I
never
think I
mind.
turned a blind eye to that one a little bit just because I like you so much. And I like so many things, and I'm like, I didn't hear that.
I'm convinced that video is a hostage situation because the way he looks around in that video makes it feel like he has a gun pointed at him. It's like, Ewan, read that script.
He actually got a star on the Walk of Fame today too.
I was gonna bring that
He
up.
did.
Congratulations to Ewan McGregor, and
Oh, good for
Hayden
him.
Christensen actually gave the speech, and it was a very super cute speech. I love their friendship, so yeah.
Oh, that's
So congratulations to Ewan McGregor.
Mhm. He
Dr.
finally
Rachel,
did it.
Dr. Rachel, that's actually a brilliant idea. I am not
To go with the
against that.
flamboyant
Oh.
if possible. They're
I'm-
really going
I'm
to
not
lay
against
into the gay headmaster.
Like very
stereotype.
flamboyant, like very,
Yep.
very flamboyant.
Totally.
Yep. I like
He'd
that.
have the
I like
outfits
that.
down.
Yeah, and
True.
they'd probably come from his own closet too. That's everything.
My favorite bit of trivia is that Eminem and Elton John are actually friends in real life, and he
Yeah,
gifted them
it's
some very sexual things for their wedding. I was like, wow, okay.
Because Elton John is pretty chill.
Yeah, he is pretty
He's
chill.
just like, whatever, it's fun, I don't care.
The most unexpected thing I ever saw him in was probably Kingsman 2. I think because he has a cameo in that movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
pretty damn funny in that movie.
He's hilarious. That was a good movie.
I don't
that.
think. No, I didn't see the second one. The first one was good, so I'll have to see the 2nd one.
The second one is pretty good. You will like it.
Yes. And then we're gonna go ahead and talk about what's going on in the Marvel. Well, I wouldn't say Marvel, but
Marvel.
he is stepping out of the MCU to, would you call this a biopic? Like a bio? Yeah.
Kind of biopic. Mockumentary.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see the part where it was from the Last of Us director. Oh boy.
I didn't see that either.
Yeah.
Now, does it all make sense? The tone of this movie.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Now, does it make sense?
Do you know where this is leading to?
Oh, man. So I watched the trailer, and was it GQ called it the I can't remember what the actual verbiage was, but they did use the term supervillain. Now I wasn't sure if they were talking about DJT or if they were talking about the other guy in the trailer. I don't want to use any names.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to get the stream throttled or anything, but yeah, so from what I understand, it's very apt timing that they would try to release this movie. And
yes.
I am curious to see what kind of a tone it takes. I'm sure we all know what kind of a tone the movie is going to take, but
I mean, I'll be honest, I'm glad it's not Alec Baldwin playing him.
yeah, somebody
saying.
would have been
No, not just because of that, because he did a terrible DJT impression on SML.
oh yeah, it's
didn't he?
bad. If they were really
It's bad.
if they were really smart, they would have got Shane Gillis to play him. He doesn't even have to look like him. He just has to sound like him. And Jane Gillis sounds like him.
He
Yep,
does.
he does. He does.
That makes a lot more sense. I was going to say something, but now I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, guys.
Was it about Sebastian Stan?
Well, you went from Winter Soldier to ex-president. You know, that's quite a step up, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite a leap.
So, quite a leap, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I haven't seen the trailer yet.
I mean, I like Sebastian Stan, but I'm not too sure if he's a good fit for the role.
Watch it, Dr.
Hello,
Rachel.
this is Donald Trump.
It's
Mhm.
I said it. Don't say it.
It
Please don't look my channel.
It doesn't give me
You know what he looks like?
personality.
Have you seen the James Bond movie where Javier Bardem was the villain
No.
with the blonde wig? He looks terrible in it, but he
was that
looks,
Quantum of Solace?
I think it was Quantum of Solace. He looks exactly like Javier Bardem in that movie.
Yep.
It's kind of funny.
Yep. He also looks like Sebastian. I don't know what they did to his mouth to get him to look like Trump, but he looks more like Bill Hader.
He does.
He kind of, yeah, he does.
Like, can you see it?
Yeah, I see.
Ah, for the love.
I mean,
Yeah,
more
I see
power
it.
to them, but
It won't let me go full screen, but yeah, I see it.
I mean, I'll just post a picture of Javier Bardem in the James Bond movie in the private chat, just so you have a comparison. But he does look like eerily similar to him. It's pretty funny, especially from the side. It is uncanny.
Mm-hmm. The other day I saw a very old Pizza Hut commercial with DGT or GJ. Oh my gosh.
RDJ.
Robert Downey Jr.
DT.
RDJ.
DT. There we go, kids. And I was like, wow, I remember watching this commercial when I was a kid. And it, ooh.
I also remember him in Home Alone 2.
I also, and Little Rascals.
Well, they did edit that scene out of the Netflix version.
Wow.
Really?
It's crazy.
They did.
I'm not
physical media, people. Buy physical media.
Yep, I agree.
You know what's crazy is that he used to be the symbol in a wholesome way of American excess. Maybe excess isn't the right word, but like kind of the American dream, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody loved him for the longest time.
Yep.
And now he's got hit pieces being written about him, or not? Yeah, whatever this is considered.
Mm-hmm.
Man, what a time to live. That back in the day as kids, like this man was so highly praised and well loved, and now just things change where they're trying to paint him as the villain, the enemy of everything, when he's not. He's just a man who's really good at real estate.
Mm-hmm. Well,
but are we supposed to sympathize with the villain now?
Oh,
the morally gray villain.
What do we do?
It's current year, Dr. Rachel. It's current year, Dr. Rachel. Remember, we're being morally gray these days.
Morally gray.
Oh, don't let all the crazy people on Twitter hear you say that. Like literally, heads will just be like,
"Cool." They need it.
You wanted me to sympathize over orcs over that they have a family, and now you want me to, they're the villains. And now we have someone who's basically a teddy bear, and you're making him into the villain. He's not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, it makes me wonder, though, like during previous cycles, would they have dropped a movie of this subject matter about one of the candidates? It just doesn't make any sense. Like this seems like a particular kind of malicious. Because I don't think it would have happened, before now.
Oh no, definitely.
It would have been seen as poor taste.
But I mean, I think they threw all of that out the door with him. Like everything that they're trying to do just to make all of the people see things like this and be like, oh my gosh, he's such a horrible person. I'm not going to vote for him. And Taylor Swift and her cat told me to vote for her. So I'm going to vote for the other one.
To be fair, I don't trust a woman singing about her poor choices, making poor choices on her election. ballot, you know.
Mm-hmm.
At some point,
I
you
don't
think she'd
trust her.
learn from her mistakes.
No.
Huh? No.
No.
Honestly, she should have just not said anything because I've been seeing that like videos of Swifties that are actually taking their merch and burning it.
Wait, what?
And I'm
Really?
like, yeah, like she angered the entire other half of her fan base. And this is what a lot of actors and musicians don't understand is that your fan base isn't going to think or vote in one particular way. So once you get involved in things like this, you're basically alienating half of your fan base. So if you go back to like Elton John and the things that he said when they asked him about DT in an interview, and he gave a very classy answer, and he was like, no, I thought it was really funny what he did, and he's a big fan of my music, and he's come to my concerts, and I appreciate that. He didn't say anything negative, but he also didn't endorse him for people to vote for either. He kept it classy. So I feel like people like Taylor Swift, who, yeah, she's got all of these fans and she makes all of this money off of all her merch and all these things. She just alienated half of her fan base. And I believe that, what's his name? Patrick Mahomes, they asked him the same thing too. They asked him, you know, which candidate, whatever, blah, blah. And he's like, I'm just here to throw a football, dude. Like, I'm not here to
That's how it should be.
I'm not here to talk about who. And but I feel like, yeah, the responsibility lies in telling people, but you should get educated about politics, pick the candidate that you feel is right for you, and that's who you vote for. But yes, absolutely, voting is important. So
that
those
should
are
be the extent of it.
Yeah, those are two very classy answers. That's all you have to do. And yeah, I feel like Taylor just should have kept it. Like she was doing good. She was doing good. And then
Isn't that what they did with some actors where they were asking like fishing for like shots at DJT on the red carpet, and some of the actors were like, look, we're just here to promote a movie, dude. We're not here to talk about politics. And that's how it should be with everything. That's what every PR person should tell every actor on the red carpet. We're just here to promote a movie. We're not talking about this crap. Because
exactly.
it would restore some goodwill for certain products if they would do that. But
And
they
I
will never
believe
learn.
even Usher did that too. He was on The View, at The View. And Joy Behar was trying to like basically bait him into endorsing a certain candidate. And he basically,
I remember that.
He also was like, no, I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. Be educated and look up what these two candidates stand for. And that's it. He didn't endorse anyone. And you could tell like all of them on The View, like they were waiting for him to say like, oh, but definitely vote for this one person though. And they were all like super quiet until they realized that he had finished with his statement. And then all of them were like, oh, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, sounds like a class act.
Yeah,
It
I mean,
sure
that's the extent of it. I'm sorry, but these are entertainers. Entertain me. Don't tell me who to vote for.
Yeah. Well, up until 5 minutes ago, we didn't know what celebrities' opinions were. But since social media came along, everybody's like, you know, well, I guess they don't really care whether or not their fan base agrees with them anymore. But, you know, especially on the level of like Taylor, the reason that she is so big is because so many people find her relatable. And then as soon as she goes out and says something, endorses a certain candidate or something, she is no longer relatable.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be honest. If you hold Mark Hamill in high regard, don't check out his social media postings.
Oh, he's unhinged.
That man is beyond saving. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, I wish I could find the meme, but there was a meme that I saw just after James Earl Jones passed of all of the past stars of Star Wars in Force Ghost form. And Mark Hamill was standing there with the Force Ghost brain. His brain is
As
I
he should
saw that
be.
one. I love it.
That was so good. That was probably my favorite meme. Oh,
Brain
man.
dead.
That was, yeah, his brain is gone.
And it's gone.
It's what Gandalf says. Like, no, not Gandalf. Qui-Gon Jinn. He says, like, just because you have the ability to speak doesn't make you intelligent. You probably need to
Liam
stay.
Neeson also said he wouldn't return to Star Wars, and
But he did.
Yeah. He did, yeah.
He's making the right choice of just moving on that.
Right.
And then as far as the Taylor Swift, how you said it's Moss, like a lot of girls find her relatable. I'm not one of those girls. I don't
You're
have
not the
those
target
problems. I don't have those problems. I don't have that mindset.
That probably means that you have at least somewhat decent judgment and are able to learn from your mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just never gonna go back wearing brown shoes with, an orange outfit or something. I don't know. But I don't know where I was going with that. But at least we can rely on people who like are smart, like Elton John, Patrick Mahomes, Usher, who's like, you know what? I'm just here to talk about what's happening, what's what's funny right now, keeping politics out of it because I don't want to hear about it.
With a really great PR team.
Yes. And then poor choice of Taylor Swift to endorse someone with a picture of her cat. Like, that doesn't sell me. You're not winning me.
I love what Elon replied to that one. He was like, you can take the kids, I'll take your cats, you'll be fine. Essentially.
Oh gosh, man. Elon just coming with like final blow on everything.
Did you guys see that? I guess apparently like Travis Kelce actually replied to him, but then he deleted it. I didn't get a chance to look it up and see if it was real or not, but he was threatening to like beat up Elon or something. That's weird.
The tweet basically said is like, I make more money than you or something like that. Like, I have a better popularity than you. Like,
he was like, I guess he was trying to tell Elon that he's like a bigger guy and that he better watch himself because Travis is gonna come after him.
Yeah, dude, you play football. Of course you are.
I'm like, dude, shut up. Go away.
Shut up.
We get it. You got brain damage. You made a bad choice with who you're dating. And terrible PR and like media management that you got leaked and now this is happening and you got an angry woman on you.
I really want to know if like Taylor approved of that message because he deleted it. So I guess not.
I think his agent was like, "Are you sure you want to say that?
Yeah.
You might want to delete that." He's like, his PR manager was like, "Don't do it. Stop it.
Come on, you just made $100 million deal on a podcast. Don't ruin it." Because it's not going to go well if you try to stream it on X or anything.
Yeah.
But going back into like, we didn't talk much about the Marvel realm, but we are going to go back to Marvel realm and we're going to end it on one of the popular things. But the final Venom trailer introduces one of the most powerful villains in Marvel history and debunks its lingering MCU theories. Smu, you're more.
I'm morbidly curious about the Venom movie. I mean, the Venom movies are cheesy as hell. Like they're not great movies by any means, but they are popcorn flicks. That's what they should be doing. And yeah, I don't know. I haven't really read much about it because I wanted to stay as spoiler free as possible. But then again, I watched the other two movies, so whatever. But apparently, they want to debunk some of the lingering theories that were hanging about from the last Spider-Man movie because the Venom had a short teaser scene in that one, or it was Far From Home, I think, when it was implied that he was actually in the MCU, but actually he isn't. It's so weird. And I don't know. I don't know much about Knoll. It doesn't ring a bell, but apparently he's one of the strongest enemies there. But I'm curious because I wonder what the implication is for the title of the movie. If it's really the last one, or if they're gonna expand on it or not. I mean, I've seen the first trailer with the Venom horse, and I think Venom frog is a thing apparently as well.
And a Venom fish.
Venom fish. Yep, that's also true.
I think this movie might be it for Tom Hardy though.
Tom Hardy's done with superhero movies.
Yeah, he's done with this, and it's not a bad thing. But he's getting a little bit older, and I think he probably wants to focus on different kinds of projects, and this isn't his thing anymore. So I would like to see Tom Hardy. He's an amazing actor, but I feel like he could be great as directing or something like that. I want to see him do stuff like that. But I think this is the last one for him, unless he does cameos in, I don't know. They bring him in for another Deadpool movie or something.
I could see him pop up in Secret Wars or something, maybe.
Yeah, like a
Or
little
maybe have a cameo in Andrew Garfield sequel if we ever get one. I highly doubt it somehow, but we'll never know.
but not like full Venom movies anymore. I don't see.
No. I mean, Tom Hardy is a great actor, and honestly, he shouldn't waste his time on MCU movies. That's the problem that Mahershala Ali has now, because Marvel basically wasted his best years of acting now because he had to wait for the MCU. But there's even rumors circling around at the moment that movie might get canned. But these rumors have been circulating around for quite some time, especially because of how cursed that production is. Like rewriting the script over and over again and all that stuff. It's just like, I don't know. And then when you really think about it, like it was kind of a vanity project. I mean, the first two movies were shot within like less than 3 months, or something, and the budget was quite minuscule as well. I think the second one was even shot during COVID, and I think it was done in like 2 months. It was done by Andy Serkis. It was done by Andy Serkis, who actually directed the first 2 movies.
Really?
Yep. I don't know if he does the third. I don't know if he did the third one, but he did direct the first 2. Say what you want about them; they're pretty cheesy fun, but I didn't see Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock anyway. He was a bit too buff for Eddie Brock, in my opinion. But yeah,
I didn't mind that.
They're pretty fun. Well, of course you didn't.
Mind that.
Of course you didn't. I would have loved more Taboo from Tom Hardy. Honestly, that show is great. If you haven't watched it,
my gosh, they ended that show without telling us what happens after. I was so hooked on it, and then they never brought it back. Yeah, that's a really great show. You can
thank Marvel for that, because they actually hired him to do Venom.
Yeah.
Or Sony, I should say.
And that was actually a very good TV show.
I agree with that sentiment, but Tom Hardy is too white to be James Bond nowadays.
Too white.
Well, he might be another one that I would almost say is too buff. Like, I don't know. Tom Hardy's a man's man. I mean, just like Henry Cavill. I always thought of James Bond. Now, keep in mind, I'm a very, very casual James Bond viewer. But I always thought of him. He's kind of like a, just a suave, kind of high class dude. Like for example, whenever I personally know a guy who he's from around where I live, and he was in the minor leagues baseball, destined to go pro. He was jacked. I mean, this dude was huge. Worked out all the time. Decided baseball wasn't for him. He wanted more of a challenge. He decided to go to the Navy SEALs. Of course, they accepted him, but they were like, "Dude, you need to lose some muscle because we need you to blend in. Like, you're going to be going to places that you need to blend in, and you're going to stand out like a sore thumb." And I feel like the logical side of me is like, James Bond would probably be similar. He's not going to be this huge hulking mass of a guy like a Reacher. But then again, I love Henry Cavill with every fiber of my being. He's just as a person. Just
cast Tom Hardy as Cavill's sidekick in the sequel to The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Ooh, interesting.
Because that's kind of the James Bond movie that Henry Cavill should have gotten, but he didn't. Just add Cavill, make Cavill, Hardy, and Sweeney. You have a good trio there, especially for the younger viewers, because the young people love Sydney Sweeney, of course, and most men. And it's kind of funny to see like how Henry Cavill is trying to like put his foot down on the Warhammer production now as well. I heard like rumors that he's not very happy with Amazon trying to take responsibilities from him. So, but I'm curious about that one.
Just one fun fact about Tom Hardy that I absolutely love. He'll show up like I think he's a blue or a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Ooh.
And he will show up at tournaments under a different name and just compete. Like, can you
Nice.
imagine? Like,
And then he
you're-
wins.
Oh yeah, of course. It's Tom Hardy. Like, can you imagine going to a jiu-jitsu tournament? You're just some, I'm just
Freaking
some
Venom walks in.
regular guy who goes to jiu-jitsu practice after work. I show up to do a tournament because, why? Well, why not? And all of a sudden, Robert Swanson versus so-and-so. And you look, that's not Robert Swanson. That's Tom Hardy.
Have you
Like,
seen Warrior?
how are you going to perform?
Have you seen the movie Warrior by chance?
That's a great movie.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
Yes.
Movie.
Mhm.
I was blown away by how buff Tom Hardy was in that movie. I was like,
I
what
was-
the?
I almost switched teams for his traps alone.
Yeah.
I mean, they were-
Oh gosh. Okay. Tell us how you really feel, Amos.
Oh my
I don't
gosh.
blame
You
him. Ross.
see him in that movie, he's like, yeah.
yeah. Oh
His
yeah.
body's crazy in that movie.
Mhm.
See, Lily, you brought an excellent example of who should be Bond. And I saw Aaron Taylor Johnson in Bullet Train the other day when I was on a plane, and he had like a suit on and then the mustache and everything. It looked ridiculous, but I could see him work as a Bond.
That's a
honestly.
good one.
He-
I think that's a good
Aaron
thing.
Taylor Johnson is a great actor. And he should
Mhm.
be playing better
He
roles. He
is. And
deserves
then I
it.
feel like he just has that like aura. If you put him in the suits and you do his hair a certain way, he's not like
Yep.
a really big guy. So like Moss, the way that you said that he needs to kind of blend in and everything. So you can tell that yes, the women will notice him because he's very attractive, but like other guys would just be like, oh, it's just some other dude.
Yeah, he's just
So
like he
he-
trades in the
yeah,
stock market or something.
Yeah. He's like,
mean,
all right, it's just some guy.
I was just supposed to pick. I was just supposed to pick in a private chat, but
But yeah,
Just
he's
ignore
got
the
like
mustache.
he's got like the whole aura, and then
Ooh.
his accent too. I feel like
Mhm.
he would completely fit with James
Mm.
Bond. They
I
should
didn't
go-
even know he was a Brit.
Mhm.
I didn't even know he was a Brit until like a few years ago. So I was like, I could have sworn he was American, but
What?
it was probably. So yeah, this is from Bullet Train, the movie that I watched on the plane. And if you remove the mustache and just see him in the suit and
Mhm.
having that hairstyle, it could work as he could work as a Bond,
Yeah.
honestly.
And like
Yeah.
no shade to Henry Cavill, but Aaron Taylor Johnson.
That mustache is better.
He's a little bit younger, so
Mhm.
you can probably make
Yeah.
more movies and keep him as Bond for a little bit longer. Like no shade to Henry Cavill, because I love Henry Cavill too, but
I mean,
he is
Aaron
like
Taylor
already
Johnson is
40 or
just-
something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Aaron Taylor Johnson's not as beefy as Henry Cavill.
hmm
And he's also my age, so he's 4 days apart from me. So he's 34. He's the
Mhm.
he's a Gemini
So
as
they
well.
could-
apparently.
yeah, they could do a little bit more with him, I feel.
Mm-hmm. I like this look for him. I'm kind of living for it. I like the suit. Looks good.
Mhm. Yeah, he's not doing any more kick-ass movies. I think the second one was done, and then they just kind of said like, "Yeah, no, we're not going to do another one."
I
But
was trying
we'll
to think
see.
of where I first saw him. That's what it was. It was
Kick-Ass.
Kick-ass.
Damn.
Kick-ass was what I first saw him. And I was like, that's probably where the misconception comes from that he's actually an American for me,
hmm
but he's actually a Brit. So yeah,
The Brits are taking over, and they're winning our
Yeah.
hearts.
I
to be
feel
fair,
like
this is, just look at like Benedict Cumberbatch playing Doctor Strange. I mean, his American accent is terrible,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But at least he's trying, because you have so many Brits playing like American comic book heroes. I mean, you look at Andrew Garfield playing Peter Parker as well, and
Mhm.
he's like the only and Tom Holland. So you got two Brits playing Spider-Man. It's kind of
Mhm.
funny.
I honestly did not know that Andrew Garfield was not American. I thought
I thought he was American for a very long
Yeah.
time. Actually,
Which, fun fact, he's in an episode of Doctor Who, and he plays
is.
he plays an American, and that's where I first heard or saw of Andrew Garfield. I was like, oh, he's from Doctor Who. He's an American. And when I found out he's British, I was like, oh,
no way.
no way. It could have fooled me because he was he was a New Yorker in that
Mhm.
Doctor Who episode, and he did such a good job as a New Yorker. He had the
Well, he's-
accent down and all.
Mhm.
He's English American. He was born and raised in California, but he's actually British. That's where the accent comes from, probably.
Mm.
It's the same with Michael Fassbender. A lot of people don't know that he's half German, which is funny when you watch Inglourious Bastards,
Really?
the movie. He actually speaks proper German in that movie,
Mhm.
and people are like, how does he speak German so well?" Well, his mom's German.
Did not
It's the
know
same
that.
with Leonardo DiCaprio. He's half German as well. So yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio's half German. Did things I did
Well,
not know.
he's got
Yeah.
he's got German roots. Yeah, I actually found the picture that the episode that you were referring to Nomi.
Oh, the Doctor Who episode?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's very young in that episode. Holy crap.
Wow, he's like a baby. Let me get it, guys. Oh my goodness.
That's very young.
Yeah.
And little fun fact, David Tennant almost had Joanne K. Rowling joining his Doctor Who run. But due to the controversies that she had, he vetoed against having her on his season.
Really?
Yep. She was supposed to have a cameo. So yeah, that's Andrew Garfield. Circa, I don't know what year that was. Early.
This has to be like 11 or 12. Huh.
That must have been a long time ago. Yeah, that must have been.
Because this is when, David Tennant was still the 10th Doctor.
2005.
Oh, 5? I was way off.
5? Wow.
Yep.
My back hurts. My back hurts.
I mean,
That's
Andrew
almost
Garfield
20.
is-
That's almost 20 years ago.
Make
Oh
no
my
mistake,
God.
Andrew Garfield is 41 years old. Believe
Is
it
he
or not.
really? Oh my god.
Yep,
He
I
ages
thought
like
he
a
was
fine
younger.
wine.
He does. Like, I know he's coming out in that new movie with Florence Pugh, and he doesn't look like he has aged.
Florence Pugh. Yep. Yeah, they're trying to. I also heard a rumor that they want to put Florence Pugh's character from the MCU with Daredevil now as a romantic interest, and I'm like, no,
I don't like that.
just don't.
I don't like that at
Yeah.
all. But you said the MCU fan or MCU realm, Smu, and they are gonna move forward with the Spider-Man 4.
They kind of are, yeah. They got the director of Shang-Chi for it, who originally was supposed to do the original Kang's Dynasty movie that was canned. And he's going to take over from John Watts. So he's got big shoes to fill, in my opinion, because John Watts did a good job directing the Spider-Man trilogy. So I'm quite curious how that will go. And well, we know that Tom Holland is coming back. So, but we don't know much else about it just yet. But we know Sony will probably take the realm of that one, the helm on that one, and just I'm kind of curious how the storyline will continue, especially after the ending of No Way Home. So,
Yeah.
curious.
Way home.
There's a little reference. Go ahead.
Well,
Moss.
some of the storytelling in No Way Home was a little bit, is a little bit wacky,
Mhm.
but overall, No Way Home was a great movie.
It was a great movie. Yeah. It shows that Peter actually took responsibility with the power that he used in that movie. So, I mean, granted, the way they went out of the way to do it is a bit convoluted, in my opinion. They could have solved that way easier and quicker instead of like building up to like 1.5 hours, and then it's like, yeah, we have to do the third arc now. Let's do it in the second act, and you're like, I don't know.
No,
I mean,
no, go
to be
ahead.
fair, No Way Home was a huge kick of nostalgia for a lot of people, and that's why it's probably resonated so well with so many people as well.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, even if they don't bring back Zendaya for the fourth one, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that too. Like, I love her and all, but I'm not like super like, oh, she needs to come back. Like, she's an okay MJ.
There's rumors circulating around that Sydney Sweeney's going to be playing Felicia Hardy.
Ooh.
I could see her as Black Cat. She would look good with that style that she has. Just give her silver hair.
I mean, I'm all for it, but that's just me. No reason.
You're a simple man, Moss, right? You're a
Yeah,
simple man.
I know what I like.
You liked
Well,
what's
nothing wrong.
what's
Nothing wrong
been
with that,
shown
man.
then? No, just kidding, Moss.
I mean, at least hopefully they do her more justice than they did in Madam Web.
Yeah.
Mm.
About that one.
Oh God.
That movie lasted longer than the Borderlands movie. Think about that for a second.
Did you watch the
in
Borderlands
a year
movie?
full of hell no.
The bar that I work at, one of our regulars came up to me and said, like, you have to watch it. It's so good. Like, yeah, I didn't follow the game, but it's so good. It's like, well, what
That's a
was the
huge
point
red
of the
flag for
movie?
me.
then what was the point of the movie? So yes.
Yeah. I mean, we watched the Minecraft trailer last week, right? Do you guys remember that one? Even though it's like a week ago, a fan actually redid the trailer with CG to make it look more like the game. Let's see if I can. I think it's this. No, it's not this one. Let me see if I can find it.
But
Oh, yeah,
all
it
the
has-
negative things coming from that for just having Jack Black in it.
See, the video I'm going to show you has 1.1 million views within 6 days. It has 91,000 upvotes and 1,000 downvotes. Compare that to the Minecraft trailer that came out like 8 days ago, which has 34 million and has 1.5 million dislikes. I'll post the link in the private chat in there. Yep. And it only has 654k upvotes. So it is already the most downvoted trailer this year.
Oh my
That's saying
gosh,
something.
that's nuts, man.
And I'm gonna say this with utmost respect. It's mostly due to Jack Black, probably.
I didn't know that Jack Black stirred up that much hate.
Yeah.
I
Jack-
think it was
no, it's
probably
due to-
after the concert.
Tenacious D.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
thinking that
after
too.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were. Yeah, that was probably where it came from. Otherwise, I don't think anybody would have said anything.
Mm-hmm.
You can probably play this without audio, just so you have an idea.
Mhm.
The trailer should be fresh in our memories. Just so you see that's a fan edit trailer
Mm-hmm.
made within the engine of the game.
Yep.
Oh.
It looks so
Oh
good.
wow.
It looks so good. I love that.
Uh-huh.
See, even that derpy sheep looks better.
Yep.
I don't understand with some of the design choices that they decide to make whenever they base movies on these video games. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why not make? Is it really that expensive or difficult to make it at least just kind of look like or resemble?
I would imagine that this is probably even cheaper for them to make, isn't it? Instead of the choices that they made for the original, because those were more like 3D textures, and this is a little bit more, I guess 3D, but it's still flatter, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
You would figure that
seen
they
the
would
guy.
make it like this, and you can absolutely still have them voicing their characters. You can still have Jack Black and all of that, but
Mhm.
And then
That's the thing. They could have gone with that, but they
Here-
didn't.
it's but remember how last week I said like I like how I didn't say I really did not like how the grass in that movie, that trailer, looked realistic versus it being pixelated from the game. And then here I see it, the grass is like, yes, that's how I remember the game when I played it a few times. Pixelated versus like, oh, we're just gonna add like a little shards of grass, blades of grass here and there. It was like a lot of mixed media in my view on that.
I mean, it couldn't have harmed to like just ask like Microsoft, like, hey, can we maybe use assets of your game to make a movie? It's not like Microsoft is like not saying no because they handed Halo to people who clearly didn't give an F.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I'm still
it's-
pissed about that one.
Yes, like see, I would have gone to see this movie. This movie looks a lot better.
Just rewind like by 10 seconds when the reveal of Jack Black's character happens. Just go back a little bit.
Oh, this is gonna be all the way over here then.
Yeah, just a bit little. There. That's Steve. That's what Steve looks like.
Yeah, that's original.
This is Minecraft Steve. That's original Steve. Even that's probably the model from Smash Brothers because he looks like that in the game too.
Weird.
But it's kind of funny, when you look at that and then you compare that to Jack Black, and I'm like, And I'm calling it now. Maybe I'm a prophet, but I think Steve is going to be the bad guy of the Minecraft movie.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
What makes you say that?
Number one, he's the protagonist of the game, and number two, he would probably abuse his power. So they're going to probably spin it in a way that Steve abuses power a little bit too much in the Minecraft universe to basically enslave the residents of the world there, and saying like, yeah, he needs to be stopped. He's a force to be reckoned with, kind of thing.
So you think they're gonna like team up with the pigmen to take him down? He's gonna try to convince the players that the pigmen are the bad guys.
Well, I mean, we've had weirder things happening in fiction lately, especially when you look at Rings of Power,
True.
where not Sauron
They
convinced the orcs to go against him,
Mhm.
They
even
should
though
have
he's
just
actually
done. They should have just done this. I
Yeah.
had my little 10-year-old nephew watch it, and right from the beginning sequence, he's like, there's already so much wrong with this. And then when he got to Steve, he was like, why is Steve old? Steve's not supposed to look like that. Steve doesn't have that hair. Steve doesn't have that beard. And yeah, he was going through the whole thing, naming like all the things that were wrong about it. And I was like, did you like this? Is this something that you want us to take you to go watch? And he's like, it's like, I don't know. It doesn't look that great. Versus when I showed him like the Mario trailer, he was like, yeah, can you take me to go watch this? This looks so cool.
Here's an interesting thing. The Japanese version of the movie doesn't have the licensed music in it. So they actually changed the music for the Japanese version of the movie, of the Mario movie, because they had to put all that pop culture music in there to make people go like, oh, you remember that song? I'm like, huh? Why? Just add more Mario music to it. Because I'm getting sick and tired of hearing holding out for a hero a bajillionth time in every single movie these days.
It's becoming
As much as I love the
redundant.
song, it's getting redundant. Yeah. What I find very interesting is with the trailer here, in the description, the guy says, I challenged myself to make it as fast as possible. And that's why some of the stuff looks kind of weird, but also it's my best potato PC could do without exploding. And that's saying something. That's from someone who is a fan.
I mean,
it looks great.
Just goes to show you when you love something and you take it upon yourself to do it justice, then it turns out a lot better, regardless of what kind of equipment or budget or whatever your people that.
Yeah, I mean, just look what happened to the Sonic movie when the backlash happened to the original design. We spoke about this last week as well. If you push back enough, maybe movie studios will finally see the light and say like, hey, maybe we should change this. Maybe it's not too late. They could do that with the Minecraft movie, but I think they're way deeper into this than we probably know. So it's probably too late to change things now. So,
And I'll be honest, when I first played Minecraft, I honestly thought Steve was a brown person.
To be fair, his hand does look like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't know much of the lore when I started playing it. I was like, oh, cool. He's just like an Hispanic kid, like in this game. I thought that was cool. Or you can customize the skin tone of Steve, because I didn't know much until my cousin ran the game with me. And so throughout the whole time, it's like, oh, cool. And then I see Jack Black. It's like, oh, he's not a little kid.
See, Minecraft always struck me as a virtual Lego, and that's why it never really appealed to me, because I always said like, well, I have Lego at home. Why should I play Minecraft? I can build things just as much here physically instead of a digital landscape. That's why it probably never really appealed to me. I mean, that's a hot take. Well, that's okay.
I mean, there was days back when I was a little bit more apt to partake in, certain herbs and spices that I would sit there for hours and play Minecraft. Like I'd sit there for 8 hours digging sand, throwing it into an oven, and into glass, and building a tower with it. That was how I spent my days.
Yep.
My friends hated me back then because I didn't want to do anything.
Did you have friends back in the day? No, just kidding.
Imagine having friends
as a miracle, yes, somehow.
Like I do remember that somebody made somebody remade Helm's Deep in Minecraft, or even some other parts of Middle Earth. I was quite impressed by that. I was like, wow, okay, people are very creative in this game. So it's not like it's not sparking creativity or anything. Hey, Igor.
Nice to see you, Igor.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, leave it up to the people to be creative, except for the people who are paid for it.
True.
But also, with what you just said, I know that Michael Keaton had strict rules about Beetlejuice. So he's like, it needs to be the way this goes, or I'm not going to be in it at all. And it looks like it's going for second best weekend in September here.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I wanted to go see it. I saw the first one again recently, and it's a lot of, the first one was just chaotic.
It's all over the place.
It's
Yeah.
all over the place, and I just don't know how the second one kind of will follow through on that. Lily, have you
Yeah,
guys
I've
seen
heard,
it yet?
I saw it already. The first one was kind of like organized chaos. The second one is just chaos. It makes no sense,
Okay.
unfortunately. Like I loved this movie so much as a kid. Like I wore out the VHS watching it so much because I wanted to be spooky like Lydia and have a ghost friend like Beetlejuice. But this one just, oh my God, there's so much going on with it. I will say that while you are watching it, it's entertaining. So you will laugh. The stuff that's going on is entertaining. I will give it that. The bad thing is that this isn't a movie that you rewatch again. They have so much stuff going on with like to not spoil it, but Monica Bellucci and Willem Dafoe's characters, you could take out their entire plot, wouldn't even affect the movie at all. Lydia's character, they totally messed her up completely.
I can see that. Yeah.
And I feel like Tim Burton kind of lost his touch when he's in the real world, I guess. Because if you watch any one of his movies, you can tell that yes, this is set in like a reality, but this is Tim Burton's reality. Like if you watch Edward Scissorhands and the way that he represents like suburbia, it's very bright colors. Everything is like real world, but you know it's Tim Burton. And in this one, there's a shot of Jenna Ortega kind of riding a bike through the little town. And it just feels too much like, oh, that could be any town, any little small town USA that's not in Tim Burton's world. Where in the first one, I believe they do go into town and they kind of interact with all the people there, but everyone's kind of, like they said, Tim Burton. You can tell everyone's a little kooky and a little too over the top. And I did love, however, Beetlejuice, Michael Keaton, amazing. Like he slipped right back into the role like nothing, and everything that he did when they were in the Netherworld too. Like he showed us way more costumes, like cooler deaths, stuff like that. So that part of it was cool. So everything else, yeah, it was very disappointing. I wanted to love it so much. I was so excited, but yeah, I went with one of my friends who was like, she really likes the original too, and she kind of came out of it, and I knew that her first reaction, like I knew right away because she just went, huh. I need to think about this one a little bit more because I don't know how I feel about it. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I don't think I liked it. So yeah, it's a shame.
I'll be honest, Tim Burton has always been hit and miss for me. When I didn't like his remake of Willy Wonka, the Willy Wonka movie with Johnny Depp. I didn't like that one. I didn't like the Grinch that he did. I think it was the Grinch that he did once. And I think the only one that I can remember liking was probably Sweeney Todd, and that was a musical. Or maybe Frankenweenie or whatever that was called, the claymation one. That was pretty good, but he's been pretty hit and miss in the recent memory. I didn't even like the Alice in Wonderland movies that he did. People loved them, but I was like, eh. Nah.
I think the first one was good, and then they just kind of got bad. They got progressively.
They jumped the shark a little.
I didn't like Sacha Cohen Baron's character in the second Alice in Wonderland. It was just, he was trying too hard for me to be, I'm a Tim Burton character.
Yes, Tim Burton has a specific way how he wants characters to work, right? The same with Michael Keaton in the first Beetlejuice movie. Michael Keaton is used very sparingly in the first movie, if you really think about it. Even though he's the titular character, he's barely in it.
That's also very true because the main character.
He's
go ahead,
little
Lily.
More in it this time, and I think that's a good thing because if they had used him the way that they did in the first one, it would probably be a little bit more unwatchable because his scenes, anytime that he's on screen, he's stealing all the scenes. Like he's so funny. Everything that is going on with Beetlejuice is really funny. But they have like way too many subplots going on, and I feel like the plot that they should have like really fleshed out, they didn't. And all of the little tiny subplots were resolved super quickly and very easily. Like it was not inconvenient for them at all. So it was just, it was crazy. And I didn't like what they did with Captain O'Hara's character either. Like having back like the OG cast and then you do something stupid with their characters is just really dumb.
I don't want to hear that. Dang it. Because she was
it
so good in the first one.
Yeah, it was bad, but I tend to like a lot of Tim Burton stuff. Like I loved the Corpse Bride. I love like the Frankenweenie movies. I love Edward Scissorhands and Sweeney Todd. Like he's done so much cool stuff. Sleepy Hollow. I love that he has a brand and that you can kind of tell that it's a Burton movie based off of that. This one, if it wasn't for all the stuff with Beetlejuice, you cannot tell that this is a Tim Burton movie. Like even in the main house on the hill when they're in there, remember how in the first one, like you kind of got that atmosphere and you're like, oh yeah, this is Tim Burton. You don't even get that in the house on the hill in this one. It just feels very soulless. Like they just wanted to put it together and put it out just because I guess Jenna Ortega was really popular as Wednesday. So they're like, why don't we put her in this movie and make her Lydia's kid? And it's like, no.
Yeah. You know, the funny thing was I actually heard rumors that the original script had Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis in the script still. And I was like, how? Like but I'm kind of glad they dumped that script because reasons. But then again, I didn't like Alec Baldwin's character in that movie too much either. So I thought he was he was trying too hard in my opinion.
Really, I liked him in the first Beatles. Yeah,
he was good.
He was good.
The Maitlands were like iconic.
Yeah. Like,
I wasn't too sure about it.
I loved that they had a love for each other and they teamed up together to like scare the people who moved into their house. And then when they did their little that wasn't a seance, but like when they possessed them, when they started doing that song dance and they like when they came back, like that was so much fun. I thought that was so cute. And I think that was like one of Alec Baldwin's good roles.
Yeah. I think because we grew up with it. So we're like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool. But they just I don't know. There's just some things like Phil said in the chat that there's just some things you can't make sequels for, and Beetlejuice was one of them. The way they resolved it was fine. I could have done without a sequel. It was kind of like how they tried to do Hocus Pocus 2. Like, why do we need that? Everything was resolved already. You don't need a sequel for it. And I feel like this is Beetlejuice all over again. They resolved everything. You didn't need a sequel, and it kind of messed everything up. So that's why I'm kind of saying, like, yeah, it's worth watching it because there are some parts that are fun and cool and stuff, but I would never watch this again just because I have the first one. So
it's like a one and done kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, you are entertained. There wasn't any moment while I was watching it that I was like, wow, this is boring, or I want to do everything but watch this. Like, no, I was entertained. Except that, this is just okay.
It still has the Michael Keaton humor in it, where he's just like he says whatever, does whatever, just for like the shock factor, like oh no, or oh gosh, the girls.
Yeah. I mean, he's still Beetlejuice, so I'm glad that they didn't edit him to be more, digestible to more people. No, he's very much still Beetlejuice.
Okay, so they didn't cater to the sensitive audience then.
No.
Sorry.
The original was pretty out there. I was like, man, they couldn't get with half the scenes he did in the first movie.
But would you say that this one actually does it effectively like pay tribute to the first one? I know the first one didn't need it, but does this one actually do it justice?
No.
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 All right. I know this might be a spoiler, Lily, but I know in the first movie they did the interior of the house super weird. Is the interior still there?
No, see, that's the problem. They spend so much time not actually on the set inside the house that you don't really get to see the house anymore. You literally just see them like in the there's like one scene that takes place where they're in the not in the living room, like I guess the dining room, and then other scenes take place in the attic. But the way that you see it in the first movie, where the house is kind of like a character of its own, and they're kind of having conversations throughout the entire house, that doesn't happen in this one. They're either outside of the house, at the dining table, or in the attic. You never see beyond that, which is really, that took me by surprise, because I was like, that's like really weird. That's why I don't feel like they did any justice to the first one. Like, if you're really a huge fan of the first one, you can skip the second one, and you're not missing out on really anything.
Or wait for it to come on streaming, so you don't feel bad spending money on it.
I'm glad I didn't go.
It's kind of how I feel about it too. So I will say, if you want the theater experience and you want to watch it like one and done, find at least a showtime where the tickets are cheap and watch it. But if you are absolutely not invested in this, don't even bother.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay, then what would you rate it? Film critic Lily over here.
Well, I did my review on Critic List, and I actually gave it a 50%. So like I said, I couldn't fault it because I was entertained the entire time, and I did love everything that was going on with Beetlejuice. So I gave it its 50%, but I took it off the rest of it because I didn't like anything else. That's basically all I liked. It was so bad.
Okay. So I'm never going to relive that living room again when Catherine O'Hara was like, oh, I'm just going to do this and all that. I was like, I liked that about her little interior designing.
Just everything about it. It's just, they really did miss with this movie. Like, the intro started off so weird. They should have started it somewhere else. The movie, like, I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but like, the movie doesn't end with the theme song. It doesn't end with anything it doesn't end. Yeah, it doesn't end with, I know the first one didn't either, but it's like the iconic song that was in the movie, so you recognize it. It ends with another song that comes out in this movie where it just kind of jarring when you watch that scene, because you're like, what the heck? There was just so much going on that you're like, I don't understand. And then in the middle of it, they have two different sequences where you get a stop motion animation to explain something about a character, and then you get another kind of like very old silent film type vibe to it to explain something else. And it's just not consistent. You're like, okay, what? Am I watching a different movie? Like, what's going on? I don't know.
I want to reiterate about something that I said earlier with the Alice in Wonderland movies and why I didn't like them. Because I don't know if you guys know the game Alice Madness Returns or American McGee's Alice in Wonderland, the adaptations. I loved those games so much, and they nailed the tone, the darker tones. And that's why when I watched the Tim Burton movies, I was like, this doesn't work. Like, because I was so into these the games back in the day, and then I was like, well, they're trying too hard. Like, I've seen Alice like slay monsters and nightmarish creatures with a knife, and that looked more badass than with that sword. So yeah, it is it is jarring. But yeah, I also heard rumors about good.
I was just gonna say, I think that he should kind of stick in the realm of more spooky things. Like, I think Alice in Wonderland, he gave it a really cool feel, but that just kind of isn't in his genre. Like, he's known for doing all the really spooky stuff, like The Nightmare Before Christmas, Edward Scissorhands, that kind of stuff. And I think that's where that's where he like excels the most. And he just needs to go back, and like we were talking about earlier with George R.R. Martin, don't worry about what viewers or anyone else is saying. He needs to just recapture that magic of being Tim Burton, because some of his movies are classics to so many people, especially people like RH2, because we grew up with those movies. So you ask anybody about like Edward Scissorhands, something like that, and automatically like you can see it in your head exactly what that film looks like. And The Nightmare Before Christmas, Sleepy Hollow, they all have like a unique look to them. Even Wednesday, I feel like he kind of stepped too far out of that, and it didn't feel like Tim Burton. So he needs to get that. He needs to get that back.
What I appreciate about the Beetlejuice movies, though, that he insisted on using a lot of practical effects. I mean, granted, the practical effects in the 90s movies aged rather poorly. Having rewatched it recently, I was like, some of the effects were like out there, but but they still worked for the movie within the universe, right? So I'm a massive fan of just using practical effects in general, and they're easier to make or produce in the end because they don't require all this CG work, and they look a lot less uncanny most of the time. But
Yeah,
it really depends on the movie, so I don't know.
Dang. Well, no, I'm actually glad you did give me a little bit of the spoilers, Lily, because I was curious about it.
Great.
But now I'm just gonna have to wait. But I'll take your word because man, that's disappointing.
Yeah, wait till
have
that on
read
VHS.
about-
But you know
Yeah.
what?
Shut up, bots.
This is like that's the thing though, is that I was very surprised is that I think if you're like a very big fan of the original one, you're not gonna like what they did with this one, because I was very surprised to find out when they were talking about it, I think on FNT, is that the majority of them actually liked this movie. And I was like, what? Like you guys,
Wow.
but none of them are actually a fan of the original, like to the extent that I think a lot of people are. So to me, I found it a little bit more offensive, the things that they did, but they found that entertainment value in the second one that they liked it. So that's kind of what I'm going to leave it with, that if you're a super fan of it, it's going to ruin it for you. But if you're just a casual viewer and you're not really that invested, you'll like it. Yeah.
I asked Gary when we had the Rings of Power watch party for the 4th episode whether or not Jenna Ortega was pretty much a copy paste of Winona Ryder's character in a way, just like for a more modern audience, right? And he was like, well, not really, but they didn't do it justice either. That's what he basically said in the end. I was like, I can see that, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's good on them for bringing back most of the cast as well. I mean, some of the actors in there were like, I was like, they're still alive? Wow.
like Monica Bellucci. But she looks good from what the pictures I've
Yeah.
seen. But but if you say her character would have been okay without or she not be in the movie, then like I said, I'll take your word for it.
Like, I saw the funniest comment ever of somebody saying that Monica Bellucci's only the only reason why she was in this movie is for Tim Burton to show off how hot she is at her age. And I'm like, she's gorgeous, and Tim Burton is dating her right now. So
Oh.
he was probably like, hey,
what?
do you want to be like a subplot in my new movie? Just show off
I
how
didn't even know about
I'll
this.
make it work.
you're my girlfriend.
I didn't even know about this. Wow.
Me
okay.
either.
Breaking news here, guys.
Yeah, so I was like,
I mean,
but yeah, she's
mean,
gorgeous. She looks great.
I mean, Monica Bellucci will always be Morticia to me in the Addams Family movies. So yeah,
Monica Bellucci?
I think it was Monica Bellucci.
No,
right?
that
Wasn't
was
it?
Angelica Houston.
Was it used?
Angelica
I have the
Houston.
Mandela effect. Yeah, that wasn't the Mandela effect. Then sorry.
I
Yeah,
will trust horror expert Lily over here.
Yeah,
So.
Lily's probably right. I don't get anything right.
Yeah, it's Angelica Houston.
Yeah.
No.
No. But I want to go ahead and thank our guest, Moss, for hanging out with us today. Before we take off, Moss, is there anything that you would like to share what you do? And I know you're very passionate about D&D. You and I are on a show together. And let us know a little bit more about you.
Yeah, man. There's not a day that I don't work on something. I'm doing something every single day, including weekends. So if you're curious about where you can find me, I'm on just about every day. Mondays for a call with Nomi over on MoonSkull. Tuesdays, I'm on a channel that JJ Knight and I run together called Tales from the Dragon's Tavern. We're running a Pathfinder 2nd edition pirate campaign over there, which is very, very fun. That one's a live stream. Wednesday, every other Wednesday over on MoonSkull, we do After Dark, which is just kind of a similar format to this panel talk show. Just talk about stuff, a lot of tabletop role-playing game news and stuff like that. Thursdays, March of the Dragon Queen over on Geeks and Gamers Table. Fridays, I actually have Fridays off, so I use that to plan.
Wow.
I use that to other campaigns that I'm running. Saturdays for Star Wars, and Sundays actually is a recording day for me now because I'm actually running another campaign. And it's believe it or not, it's in the One Ring. It's One Ring system and takes place in Middle Earth. So I'm very, very happy about that. We got some great people over there. And I'm currently working on editing the first episode, which is so laborious. I forgot how laborious editing videos is. It's ridiculous.
It is quite laborious, yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was sitting there editing. I get up first thing in the morning before I go to my big boy job, and I get up and I edit for a little bit. I'm like, oh my God, this is so much. It's like 2.5 hour video that I got to edit. And it's like, oh my God. But other than that,
factor in rendering and everything. Ugh.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh yeah. And I also over on Tales from the Dragon's Tower, I always forget to plug this, Saturday mornings, 8 o'clock a.m., 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Central Time. I do a live stream over on Tales from the Dragon's Tavern, where I just make battle maps and stuff, hang out, talk to chat. It's good fun before Geeks and Gamers Tabletop starts Crimson Throne. So
Nice.
I think that's everything.
By the way, congrats on passing 11K on G&G Tabletop.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic, and we just passed 3K over on MoonSkull. So I mean, these channels are doing really well.
Awesome.
So thanks to everybody who comes over and makes that a possibility. It means a lot.
Yeah, no, we're glad that you guys are killing it over there at the tabletop side, and MoonSkull doing great. No, Smu the DJ is dropping all the links for where we can find you. But we can also find you on Twitter, right, Moss?
Oh yeah, you can follow me at Mossmoophe. That's MossMoophe. I actually, that's where I save a lot of my bad political takes for. So
nothing wrong with that.
That and my Rings of Power rants.
Yeah, I was going to say your raging rants a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today, Moss. I really appreciate it. And you're more than welcome to come hang out here with us again over here at Dames and Dorks. But before we go on, Dr. Lily, do we have anything coming up from your end?
I don't have anything going on this week, but just make sure that you're I have all of my links in here too. So Instagram, X, Criticless, definitely sign up for Criticless. And if you guys missed it, go back and watch Monday's episode of Toxic Femme, because yay, yours truly was on it. And it was a pretty good conversation. So if you're so interested about hearing a little bit more about Beetlejuice and all the other stuff that we covered, yeah, definitely check that show out too.
Nice. Dr. Rachel, what do we have coming from you?
At the moment, not a whole lot. You can find me on Adam the Renaissance Nerds channel on YouTube, as well as Jed the Hollywood Scholars account, because they're dual streaming a show called This Is Mordor Country every Saturday night, just talking about how awful Rings of Power is. We go episode by episode. So this week we'll be doing episode 5. So usually, like, we can go about 2 hours just on one episode. So that gives you an idea of how deep we get into it. So if you are interested, in just all the nitty gritty crap that happens in that show, please go check that out.
Oh my God.
That's Saturday nights at 8:30 Eastern time. So it's later on at night, but it's so fun just chatting with the guys about just how terrible it is. But a lot of fun. So go episode by episode. So next few weeks. Meanwhile, you can check out to see where I am on Twitter, Sauron_cosplay, Instagram, same handle. Slowly working on some art stuff, but I am taking a little bit of a breather this coming week because Monday is my birthday.
Woo!
So I'm going to try to celebrate in between all of my jobs.
Let's go, Dr. Rachel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, no, take a breather. You deserve it. Yes. Another year around the moon. I'm excited. Totally. Yes. Smu, what do you got going on?
Well, I'm going to be moderating on FNT tomorrow. I'm trying to play some Marvel vs. Capcom tomorrow afternoon after work, so it's probably going to be like 8 a.m. your time. Saturday night for 2 a.m. for me, I'm going to be playing Warhammer Space Marine 2 with Horny Elf and Tomby. So be sure to check that one out because I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be good. Sunday, Final Fantasy 14 on my channel with Tomby and Myrden. Monday, I'm probably just going to chill. Tuesday, I don't know. We'll see. Just keep an eye on Twitter. You can find me at DJ Smu. That's where you usually find me ranting and making fun of Ubisoft failing at the stock exchange and failing at basic history. And other than that, yeah, just follow the lovely ladies. And yeah, you always find me here on Thursdays.
Nice.
And maybe sometimes on MoonSkull as the token German.
Maybe sometimes there.
Maybe.
Well, as for me, you can catch me on MoonSkull on Mondays with Moss. It's been a blast. I guess there's still no train, but
Where's that train?
There was never a train. I'm gonna lose it. But yeah, you can catch me on MoonSkull with Moss, and then here and there streaming on the Kick side over there because I've been kind of doing it. I got some new games recently. You'll be catching me doing some retro games pretty soon. And yeah, I'm kind of busy this weekend, so I'm gonna be a little busy here and there. But thank you everybody for hanging out here in the chat. I have been so grateful for all of us, or for all of you guys to hang out, give us some good takes. I wish that you guys have a good night, and everyone who is watching over here on the Twitter side, have a good night. Thanks for hanging out, and we hope y'all have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye.